I'm going to give you 3 reasons why I would option the new 2025 Genesis G80 2.5 Turbo in black and compare this against the competition with some pros and cons. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides. All G80s had a mild refresh. 5.5 inches of clearance is standard on all trims, as well as the reworked crescent grille. It integrates into the quad LED headlights in daytime runnings, which is a signature touch to Genesis, and I like that they're keeping this because the Germans, you can't necessarily tell the difference. The lower gets the honeycomb and a sport design, and going into the 3.5 twin turbo, it's going to look a little bit more aggressive. Housed underneath the hood gets the 2.5 liter turbocharged inline 4-cylinder. That's producing 300 horsepower with 311 pound-feet of torque, paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission, achieving 20 mpgs for the city, 29 mpgs for the highway. Standard all-wheel drive, whether you tick the box to a base or you go into the 3.5 twin turbo. The only con that I have is going into the 2.5 turbo, you cannot get the electronically controlled suspension with road preview. You have to go into the 3.5 twin turbo, which uses the camera in the front to read the roads for imperfections, to keep the suspension more settle, and going over speed bumps, so you're not going to be all over the place. Taking me to the first reason why I would choose the 2.5 turbo is you do not lose that many features, and you're getting a huge deal standard with these 18-inch wheels. You can option 19 and 20-inch wheels that will be found on the 3.5 twin turbo. All trims get the bi-LED turn signals that's integrated on the fenders. And another con would be that you still have to option things like a pano moonroof, but you're getting the standard quad LED tail lights. The lower gets the grille pattern, no exhaust to be found, front and rear parking sensors with the reverse camera. Now, when I go into Genesis, I think it should be standard for a 360-degree reverse camera. You can option it on this, so at least you can get that capabilities, and it has the 3D view, but let me know what you think about that. As for competition, Mercedes, this is gonna have more power. BMW, the same thing when you're talking about a base tier. Going up the trim, doesn't matter which way you go. Genesis is going to be the best variant in pricing, even if you're comparing this against Audi. That's why this slots at one of those unique trim levels. The only con is they do not option a hatchback, which you can only get that with BMW and Audi. And like any vehicle, when you get a refresh, the price has increased, but I'm getting a little bit more standard amenities from the 24 to the 25 with the styling elements that's going to offset that increase in price. The 3.5 twin turbo will option the power, going into 13.1 cubic feet with a storage net on both sides. You have this area that you can put these down. I like this because if you want to put your jacks, or even just leave the jack underneath here next to your tire, you can use this as another storage with a pass-through. The key fob for the G80. 12-way power seat adjustment is standard for the front occupants, as well as heated seats and leatherette seating. Leather is an option, as well as ventilated seats and the ergo motion seats with more power seat adjustment for the driver, as well as memory is going to be standard. Now you're going to see that full refresh in the interior, which more or less is the dashboard, the center, the steering wheel, the seat design. Let's fire it up. Taking me to the second reason why this is the trim to choose from. The only options that you lose going into a base besides the engine is the heads-up display, the microfiber suede headliner, the carbon fiber instead of the wood or the gloss black, and Napa leather seats for the front. All vehicles will be standard with the 27-inch OLED touchscreen with navigation, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, Sirius XM AM FM, streaming Bluetooth audio, Genesis Connect, quiet mode, which is cool because it'll quiet down the speakers in the rear, so that way it's a more pleasurable drive for children or infants. Putting into reverse with a reverse camera, full trajectory, front and rear parking sensors. Click on the sub menu here and you have some different camera layouts. Now a 360-degree reverse camera with 3D is an option. Dual climate control settings with a touchpad that has been cleaned up a little bit as well as having physical buttons for the infotainment screen. So everything doesn't have to be done through that. You can actually still hit buttons. Tri-climate control settings is also a feature that's option with the piano gloss black. These rotary knobs have been reworked. I think they look a lot more elegant. And you still have your driver mode select, which you have a total of 3 different driving modes with a new touchpad for the steering wheel, so you can go through an array of different content for the driver in the gauge cluster. Leather wrap steering wheel, it's heated with the paddle shifts. Wireless charging is an option. Open up inside, it's a medium-sized storage pocket with 2 USBs and a 12-volt, and it's soft to touch. Ambient lighting is going to be surrounding there, as well as underneath that piano black for the middle of the dashboard. Seamless air vents that just run through. Leg space is good for both of the front occupants, as well as headroom. It's actually a little bit better. You can option a panel moonroof. Auto dimming rear view mirror is standard. 12 speakers. You can option the 18 speakers to Bang & Olufsen sound system with 1400 watts. I like how everything integrates into the dashboard. You get the piano black, and it's going to be more sporty, one touch up and down for the windows with a long storage pocket. Going into the rear, this is the opening that you have with the new seat design. Heated rear seats, cup holders, and storage with USB ports. Third climate control is an option with the air vents. Storage pocket behind both of the front seats. This is still nice and large, unfortunately, but you do have plenty of leg space, which you'll see in a second. Headroom is still good. Door panel, it's going to have the same materials that's found in the front, except the storage is going to be a little bit smaller, and it's actually a little bit more soft right here. Sliding into the center, you can see what I mean by sharing some feet space. Now, if the seat is back, it's going to be hard for somebody my dimensions to fit. Otherwise, it would be okay, but I'm at 6'3". My head is hitting the headliner, so just take me for a quick dinner if you're gonna make me sit in the center. The new GV80. This is one of those unique vehicles because you're getting luxury. It's a little bit longer than the G70, but you're still getting performance because you have 300 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque. So the sound deadening, it's quiet. The drive, we got 18-inch wheels. I'm not feeling any imperfections in the road. This OLED touch screen that integrates into the gauge cluster is awesome, and I like how they have cleaned up everything, especially the center cluster, because now it feels a lot more luxurious than the prior. Even in reviews that I have said, would I go 24, 25? That's why I would go 25, because you're getting a little bit more essence when it comes to this variant. Now, that being said, if there is a 24 out there that's fully loaded, you could probably take it at the price of a base 25, just to think about the increase of price. But then the features that you're getting, a lot more standard amenities here. Unfortunately, you still don't get a standard wireless charging pad, but when you go base, opposed to the 3.5 twin turbo, you're only losing maybe 5 features that you can't option, which is definitely awesome, because now you don't have to spend in the mid 60s to 70 grand. If you're wanting to get all of those luxury amenities, you can get that, and you still have plenty of performance comparing it against the Germans. That being said, we always have to check the performance. We got it in sport mode. Let's rock and roll. It's quick, and it stays smooth. The exhaust note filters in. It does feel a little wide in the lane, but I'm all right with that because I'm wanting something longer than the G70, and this is what you go to. And that's going to take me to some pros and cons, and it has to be that I'm getting basically every single feature in all trims, meaning the 2.5 turbo or the 3.5 twin turbo. The seats, they're comfortable. I can go up the tier, get more seat adjustments. The Ergo Motion, on a con, they still don't give you the Ergo Motion seats for the passenger, nor do they give you the 16-way power seat adjustments for the passenger, so 12-way is the most that you're going to receive. Tri-climate control, I feel, should be standard, as well as a wireless charging pad, so that's definitely a con. I understand for the heads-up display because I'm getting this 27-inch OLED screen, so some things I can do a plus or minus, but then not even receiving a power tailgate. These things should be standard because we're in Genesis. Turn radius at more or less a stop point, about 2 lanes, which is normal, and we got to rock and roll. Now it's obviously not as fast as the 3.5 twin turbo, but how much power do you need when you're going to be sinking more dough in the vehicle? I mean, let me know your thoughts on that, because this engine is potent enough. You have full luxury amenities, and comparing it against the Germans, you already have more horsepower and torque, so it's already a faster vehicle right out of the box. Unfortunately, you do not have the electronically controlled suspension with the preview or the road preview, which will use the 360-degree camera that's in the front to read the road ahead of you for speed bumps and imperfections to adjust the suspension so it's more smooth. Kind of wish that was standard, but I'm under 60 grand, so I'll definitely let that slide because I can still get leather seats. I can't get the Napa leather seats, but I get all functionality for the seat functions for the front and the rear, including heated and ventilated front seats. Typically, when you get a base trim engine, you're not able to get all of those features. You're really only losing 5 or 6 features in the vehicle going this engine route. And the way the screen integrates into the dashboard, it's a lot more seamless than just throwing a Curve 1 panel. It actually is a little bit more closer to the driver than the prior as well, so making it a little bit easier to use the touchscreen or the haptic buttons for your maps, to go into setups, to change the configuration of the gauge cluster or any information in this system. So you still have physical buttons, which is definitely a pro, because when you're going into competition like BMW, they're not offering you buttons anymore. Mercedes is cleaning it up as well. It's one of the most smooth vehicles in class, because when you're going into Mercedes, especially the new E-Class, it's great. There's a lot of computers that's working for the sound cancellation and for the suspension and just to make the vehicle what it is. You're not getting all of those mechanics here. So you're getting the insulation, the acoustic front windscreen standard on all trims, a luxurious ride with some performance to back it, and now we're getting that refresh, which is welcome. But let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the next video, merchandise, website, and Instagram. Leave a comment and a like, and I'd like to thank Genesis of Lakeland for giving us this 2025 Genesis G80 for our car review.